What's up, Disney Infiniteers? Welcome to today's video where we check out all the 2024 Halloween community creations for Disney Infinity. It's that time where the Disney Infinity community comes together to celebrate Halloween in the form of new Disney Infinity toy boxes and so much more. So grab some of that extra candy you have saved and get ready for some tricks and plenty of treats. Let's kick off this Halloween event with the Bowtie Guy, who has 5 entries this year. First, let's dive into his Disney Infinity adaptation of Mary Shelley's historic Frankenstein book written in 1818, as well as the 1931 film. We start off with this beautiful village near Castle Frankenstein, where we are greeted by Hubert the Fear Frankenstein, who just inherited his father's estate. Now, as you can see, there is so much detail in this village. First, Hubert talks to the manager of the Frankenstein estate for the keys to the front gate, but she seemingly has lost them. So, Hubert makes his way over to the stables, but the owner also lost the keys to his stables. Clumsy residents. Hubert then goes on to fetch them, but accidentally damages the well. After grabbing a horse, he embarks on his way to the front gate of the Frankenstein estate. Here, you can see the use of smoke effects, trees, and the spooky atmosphere Bowtie Guy has created. After opening the gate, Hubert continues through the spooky village. He's eventually confronted by some of the villagers after crossing a bridge who believe he's a monster, like his father. However, Hubert's mind is totally different, and he wants to protect Dr. Frankenstein from the people of the nearby village, as he has a good heart. As Hubert reaches the castle, he stumbles across his father's books, which include many research projects, notes, and much more. As he hears a wolf howling in the background, we see a shot of the castle. Now, Bowtie Guy mentions that he used the Disney Infinity Frankenweenie concept art as an inspiration for this part of the level. So, as Hubert makes his way up the castle, he'll come across a button. Once he hits it, it reveals a secret entrance to the secret laboratory of his late father, Victor Frankenstein. As he enters the secret passage and proceeds further down the stairs, Hubert will pull out his flashlight as he continues to investigate the mysterious area. He'll come to a door that he can't quite enter yet, and continues to explore the old dungeon and laboratory where he comes across an old generator. Hubert then comes across an old fuse box and connects it so the lights will turn on in the area. With the power back on, he's now finally able to enter his father's old laboratory. As he turns on the power, a path is revealed into the village. Hubert must now make his way to the graves to dig up some bodies to be able to create new life. He'll ride back through the fog to get to the gravesite, where he will explore the various graves. As he looks around the graves, he'll come across one decorated with pumpkins that looks appealing to him. He'll then be able to retrieve a body out of the grave, just like the original story. Hubert will pull out another body, played by townspeople, and then head back to the lab to look at his father's notes. Once back at the castle, he'll go down into the freezer and pull some more bodies which are preserved down here. This part is so creepy and creative. So he collects the various body parts from the freezer townspeople, where he will see his creation on the table. After powering up the castle fully, you'll see a huge thunderstorm begin to form on and around the castle. This looks absolutely spectacular. This energy captured from the storm was enough to wake up his creation. So he activates the switch and we see lightning hit his creation, but he does not awaken yet. Hubert realizes he has way too much electricity, and lightning bolts strike the castle, and the guards from the village begin to storm the castle. Hubert quickly tries to flee, so he takes the back door out of the castle. Just as this happens, his creation turns into a raging Frankenstein monster, played hilariously by Hulk, and here is when the player will take over Frankenstein. So he escapes the castle looking for his master. As the guards run across this monster, he'll smash up everyone in his way. The horror. The villagers continue to attack, but he obliterates all the guards in rage. Upset that his master left, he climbs the tower and rages on as Bowtie Guy's first video concludes. Bowtie Guy did not stop there. He also created a black and white silent movie version as an homage to the film from 1931 where Boris Karloff played the Frankenstein monster. During his playthrough of this version, the dialogue boxes help progress the story, and it's fun to see the toy box through the lens of classic films, paying homage to one of the most well-known horror stories of all time. Additionally, Bowtie Guy shared a video called The Big Jump. Bowtie Guy explains that he had to cut back on his Frankenstein toy box for more logic, so he took out things like streets, terrain, and trees. When creating it, Lion HD recommended a shortcut at the time. Utilizing Infinity's cannons, Bowtie Guy showed off a way to shoot himself forward, up, and over the castle. However, he explains there's really no way to hide these cannons or jumps, so ultimately it was cut as he builds big first and then scales back his toy box creations from there. He also originally had another tower too, but as he explains, he simply didn't need them for the finished toy box. Lastly, the Bowtie Guy made an extensive tutorial split into 2 videos on how you can create your own random thunderstorms in your own Infinity toy boxes. He explains that a YouTuber named Mr. Pandakins originally had some logic tutorials on the thunderstorms, so he took some of that knowledge, built upon it, and showcased how to create these using toys like logic gates, time delayers, effect generators, sound effect generators, and much more. As he's done so many times in the past, this tutorial will walk you through step by step clear instructions on how to create such an impressive thunderstorm. By the end of the second tutorial, you will see it all come together and you can create your own thunderstorm in Disney Infinity with this knowledge. As always, incredible work, Bowtie Guy. Your entries were absolutely monstrous. Next up, we have Miniman04X rising to enter the event with his Symbiote Rising toy box. Inspired by the Dead Rising games, Miniman gives us fans a tour of the massive mall he created. It's so big, in fact, that he mentions that the memory caused an issue in which he couldn't add in as many functions as he wanted, but he wanted to showcase his creation nonetheless. You'll begin in the entrance of the mall where you can see multiple shops. He shows off his sports shop with various sports accessories. He also built the pharmacy-inspired shop from Dead Rising 2. There's also a fashion shop he created as well. In the main lobby of the mall, you can see the fountain in the middle, as well as interesting architecture, statues, and more. Miniman then tours one of his favorite areas, the supermarket area, which includes a myriad of stuff including drinks from vending machines, different fruits, and food. He even had the detail of a lone gnome who wants to serve customers as everyone else ran away from the symbiote-infested mall. Making his way back to the hub, if you had left at the fountain, he shows off his cafe. It features computers and has a futuristic look to it. There's also a bookshop with detailed books for you to purchase, including the Darkhold. Man, I love these Infinity crossovers. The final shop is an antique treasure shop, which includes many exotic goodies. He then shows off what he calls his favorite area in the entire mall, the outdoor park area. He created a complex path to follow, natural lighting, statues and trees, and a small lake in the middle. He also has tons of beautiful plants and a hidden area, the mall's Cave of Wonders, with gemstones and a hidden Mickey. Additionally, he also placed the Sword in the Stone, which you can grab and use in the map in this area as well. Clever. Down the other hallway to the right, he showcases his restaurant, which looks fantastic. Incredible detail here. There's also a huge arcade which features games to play on all sides, including snacks to grab while you game. He shows off another storage room and an oddity shop which features some unusual items, including the Book of Ashanti. Additionally, there's another bookshop, and finally, the restroom areas. He definitely nailed the mall vibes here. Now, he mentions he has an ability to spawn in symbiotes, which changes the area to a nighttime sky and changes the way the whole entire mall looks, including the outdoor areas too. Overall, this mall was a clever take on the Dead Rising games, and I loved how much detail he put into it. Very creative and thematic for this event too. Loved every second of this mall tour, Miniman. Now make sure you took care of all those symbiotes for us. The Epic Gamers Squad joined in on the event with their Disney Infinity code that they've been working on. Essentially, this is modding the tags on figures so that when you place the figures on a base, a video would play with background music. Now, Epic Gamer Squad talks about wanting to make it similar to how the Disney Infinity demo bases work that you'd find in stores back in the day. There, you'd place a figure on the base and Disney Infinity trailers would show up on the monitor. Now, the Epic Gamer Squad mentions they'll continue to work on this, but I wanted to share his progress so far. Cool G.I. Joe brought a new toy box to the event entitled The Quest to Retrieve Fear's Soul. As the title suggests, Fear learns that his soul has been stolen. So, in order to retrieve it, he'll have to embark on a journey through this haunted mansion. The toy box starts off with tons of fog upon entering the gates as Fear heads towards the spooky mansion. The eerie atmosphere sets the mood here perfectly. Once inside, you'll see the incredible detail cool G.I. Joe put into this toy box. The mansion is vast and spooky. As Fear looks around, he'll eventually stumble across a locked door, so he must continue exploring. Fear wanders from room to room until he comes across an elevator button. Once he hits it, he descends deeper inside the mansion. At the bottom, he'll end up in a basement with many decorations and a switch on the wall. Once Fear pulls the lever, he'll be able to enter the locked door that he came across earlier. He heads back up, and once inside this room, you'll see tons of haunted paintings on the wall, as well as more spooky windows. Fear will continue along the hallway until he reaches a corridor with more windows. Eventually, you will find yourself in a secret room with bookshelves, paintings, a fireplace, and tons of books and decor. Fear will eventually find Madame Leota, who will tell him that to find his soul, he'll need to follow through the fiery hole. In a cool twist, Fear will have to travel through the fireplace, where he'll come face to face with an entity called the Ghost King. After an epic duel in the dark, Fear will eventually defeat the Ghost King in the room and reclaim his lost soul. Cool G.I. Joe also had a second submission showing off more of his May the 4th Star Wars toy box inspired by the original trilogy and the Return of the Jedi. The first is called the Battle over Carkoon. The toy box begins with Luke fighting on ships hovering above the Sarlacc pit, taking care of the enemies around him. Luke will then have to jump from ship to ship, defeating the enemies along his way. I love the way Cool built all of these ships. Really clever designs here. Make it to the third ship and you'll begin a battle with Boba Fett himself. After fighting off Boba, you'll eventually dispose of him and make your way over to Jabba's main ship. Once inside here, you'll continue to fight off Jabba's guards who ambush you upon arrival. Continue on to make your way inside Jabba's room by using the Force to break down his door, and you'll find Jabba and Leia, where he will finally meet his fate. Luke will then make his way back up to the top of Jabba's ship and shoots out the engines. And with this, Luke will escape and you will watch Jabba's entire ship blow up. I love this adaptation. The next toy box shown is the Battle of Endor, which Cool says is unfinished. However, he showcases his build of Endor. It opens up with Han Solo making his way across the Ewok village, high up into the trees. The winding paths look great here with tons of verticality. Han will eventually come across a glider he can use to make his way down into the village. You can really get a sense of the skill that Cool created just from this shot alone. Continue climbing up and you'll find yourself grinding across a rail and going up even higher. Once again, you'll get to see how big this toy box is, and I loved the details that he put into this. Can't wait to see the finished project. Our next featured toy box is called Saving the Candy Factory, created by AB. In this toy box, AB masterfully created an entire city all in a 2D toy box, and we'll get to see Donald Duck navigate this impressive city. Donald will come across many challenges, including platform areas, as well as battles with enemies throughout this entire toy box. The setting is really breathtaking too. The gameplay elements, like sliding across pipes, really diversify the toy box too. It feels like a living, breathing city, especially with the use of the sky that AB used here. There's even a clever section here where you will make your way up clouds to jump up to the next building. Once you reach the factory, you'll enter it and find yourself in the next part of the toy box. This candy factory blends a lot of different elements, including tons of droids in the background. Donald will continue moving along platforms and fighting off more enemies. I really liked the clever designs here, like this cupcake conveyor belt and the aesthetics here. It really does seem like a massive candy factory. As you proceed forward, Donald will battle it out with more enemies and eventually reach a boss fight. AB did a great job with this one, making an impressive 2D toy box which captured the feel of an actual candy factory. Loved it. AB also shared a trailer for his upcoming toy box called Super Smash Bros. Utilizing Brown Bat's mods, he shows off his Smash Bros inspired toy box. He also mentions it will have a couple cool features like changing your opponents and changing the theme of the map, as well as bringing in sidekicks to help battle enemies. I'm excited to see more of this mod in the future. Thanks for sharing these, AB. Now, let's check out Baller's Disney Infinity Halloween Race Toy Box. Set in the Nightmare Before before Christmas theme, Baller's Racetrack features twists and turns and lots of holiday fun in the course showcased here. Sometimes it's the simple stuff that's fun to play. Nice racetrack course here, Baller. Next up is Professor Toybox, who brought his Halloween Takeover Villains Edition toy box to the event. This special Villains Edition trailer explores his recent Halloween Takeover toy box from the villain's point of view. As Jack steps forward, you can see the entire toy box transform into a Halloween-themed toy box. The villains seem to like it too. Jack and the villains walk down Main Street and get attacked by some townspeople. All of the shots in this video are fun to watch, especially considering this is from the villain's point of view. Now, on his channel, he recently made an entire series for Halloween Takeover, so make sure to check out those for more context. Toybox Tours contributed to the event with their Fear the Force toy box. The toy box opens up with a very cool shot of a first-person TIE fighter flying around the toy box over the Imperial ship and eventually landing down next to an impressive empty structure. This opening cutscene sets the mood nicely. The TIE fighter will land in first person and then Kylo Ren emerges on the landing pad. Right off the bat, you can see the incredible amount of detail Toybox Tours has put into this. Kylo walks around the mist and stumbles upon enemy bodies. Continuing on, Kylo navigates through the terrain, showcasing the beautifully crafted world around him. He'll come across an enemy asking him what he wants, duels it out, and then comes across more enemies by a campfire. After dealing with them, Kylo will make his way to a switch. Step on it, and a new gate will be unlocked for him to continue along. Once you get closer to the impressive temple, you can easily see the creative design of it. Battle some more enemies, and Kylo will continue his journey. Shortly after, he'll come across someone asking for his help. Here, we'll get a cutscene showing off different symbols in various locations around the map. Kylo will have to make his way to each switch and match up the correct symbols. Once you hit the last symbol, a new area will reveal itself within a cave. You'll see the NPC let you know that he's ready. Then you can continue through the cave. It's fun to watch the troopers walk alongside you. You'll hear something happen to them, and as you continue deeper on in the cave, you'll see torches begin to light, revealing the winding path that you're on. This spooky effect is so cool. Once you've made it to the main area, Kylo will use the Force on an object to obtain its power. However, the sky will change, the ground begins to tremor around him, and huge enemies will emerge to attack you. Battle the enemies, defeat them, and you'll escape through the cave as they are protecting whatever secrets this temple holds. More enemies will attack on your way alongside the cliff edge of the cave. Eventually, you'll reach a lift which will take you down to the ground level. Kylo will continue to fight his way back to his TIE fighter, where you'll eventually be able to take off and fly up towards the Imperial ship. Now, I absolutely loved this toy box and the design of everything here. It's a fun, spooky take on Star Wars. Well done, Toybox Tours. Next, we have Davey Jones' Nautilus Heist by JetBlast 190. The story here is a prequel to one of Professor Toybox's creations. In this toy box, Davey Jones sets out with his henchmen to commandeer the Nautilus from Captain Nemo and his crew. The toy box opens up with Davey Jones resting on an island as he senses something is nearby. Davey Jones sets sail into the water and you get a fantastic look at the island as he embarks on his adventure. Next, you will see an incredible effect where Davey Jones' ship will turn and actually submerge underwater, revealing an entire world beneath the depths, including the Nautilus itself. Jones knows what his next move will be: hijack the submarine. Now, I absolutely love the look of this underwater area. It's brilliant. Next, Davey will order his crew to fire upon the submarine. You'll fire upon it, but realize you won't be able to do much damage yet. So he orders his crew to fire upon it once again, this time hitting the targets and making the submarine vulnerable. From here, your ship will sail to the back where Davey wants to attack the rudder, so the submarine can't run. Once again, you'll man the cannons and fire upon the targets on the back of the ship. Once destroyed, Davey's ship will circle around the Nautilus one more time, and you'll have another 3 targets to destroy on the right side. Once you take care of these, Davey's ship will circle around once again, lowering itself to the seafloor level. Next, in jaw-dropping fashion, you'll see Davey's crew leave the ship and begin to battle the enemies on the seafloor while Davey shoots cannons. Davey will then join the battle on the seafloor, where you see a massive pirate battle taking place. Continue to fight off the enemies and you'll eventually see one more target. Pull out your blaster, shoot it, and it will open up a hatch hatch that Davey can climb up and into the Nautilus itself. He'll come across more enemies within this highly detailed sub, and Davey will find a room full of treasure. After he grabs it, he hits a lever and fights off more enemies. Davey continues inside the ship and makes his way to the brig. He climbs up, fights off more enemies, and continues onward. Take notice of how much detail is inside this submarine too. As you continue onward, you can see the beautiful vista outside the windows. Davey continues, defeating foes in his way, and you'll see the quarters where the crew sleeps. Again, the attention to detail here is so impressive. Once in the bridge area, Davey Jones and his crew will once again take on their crew in a battle royale. Swords swing and clash as the battle rages on. Once all are defeated, Davey will confront Captain Nemo, who throws some punches. So Davey has no choice but to pick him up and carry him down to the brig, where he locks him up. Once this is done, Davey Jones restores the power and proceeds to commandeer the ship. And this toy box ends with a shot of Davey Jones successfully hijacking the iconic submarine. Absolutely incredible work here, Jet Blast. I loved every second of this. Next up is Tell Me X's Pirate Bay toy box. In this toy box, we can see a beautiful village alongside the ocean. Tell Me X then shows off various pirate battles and buildings he's placed around the toy box. Additionally, his trailer shows off various features and the pirate-themed aesthetics of the toy box. It's always great to see so many people continue to build and contribute to these events. Thanks for sharing, Tell Me X. Now it's time for That Brown Bat's Castlevania Castle Dracula 3D Tour. Now this jaw-dropping toy box was built with his own mods and showcases what the evolution of toy boxes can truly be. In this toy box, he will show off his 3D Castlevania castle since he made the entire thing in 2D last year. He also mentions that due to mods, he ended up using about half the toys he would have, but still reached the memory limit. First up, he uses a Doctor Strange mod to become Dracula himself. Through the main gate, you can see the main courtyard, which is absolutely breathtaking. Brown Bat's mods are insane here, like these trees with skeletons hanging from them. He also shows off the entire castle, which is based on 8 towers put together, including a massive clock tower up top. Continuing on, the entrance hallway is decorated with tons of lights, drapes, carpets, and more. It's so surreal to see how mods can change up so much within the toy box. The main hall is also decorated to the brim with details, rugs, and just so much more. The next part of the tour takes us to the rooftop. Once you head down the corridor, go up the stairs, and to the top of the chapel. You can climb the ladder or fly up to the bell. The amount of detail Brown Bat has put into this is just mesmerizing. He also shows off the architecture of some of the connecting towers. Back down in the main hallway, he enters the center courtyard and into his version of the chapel. You can see how incredible this looks with small details like the tiling and Medusa's office, which includes a painting of her. He also shows off the decorations like the organs, lights, glass windows, and even a confessional from the series too. The next area is his library. This looks absolutely stunning with the mods, and I can't get over that this is actually Disney Infinity plus mods. Go up the stairs and you can see the scale of the library with its 2 levels. The next area is the museum or marble gallery. Brown Bat shows off all of Dracula's trophies that he's stolen from other lands. This area looks great, and the fact all of this lives on just one toy box is truly mind-blowing. The next area is the theater area. I love how old-timey this area looks. The red carpet and curtains give off a theater vibe perfectly. The stage looks perfect for a play, and he even created the backstage area with costumes, a puppet theater, and much more. In a separate area, Brown Bat showcases his banquet hall. This features a huge table decorated with food as shown here, as well as music, a fireplace, and much more. You can also see Dracula's seat at the head of the table. There's also a kitchen area that includes tons of stations for cooking meat and more. He even included a food pantry to store more goods for the castle. When you head upstairs, you'll come across his laboratory. He even shows off Dr. Frankenstein's area where he created his monster. This even includes a skylight above the slab. I love the little details like the books, potions, dials, and more. He then shows off his clock tower level with a spiral staircase leading you all the way up to the top. The first tier includes a door to the bridge above the castle. This door also leads to Dracula's Keep, but will be locked in the game. Head up the staircase even more and you'll reach the clock tower. A chair is featured here alongside an NPC to make sure that you don't proceed any further. Back in Dracula's Keep, you can see how much he built based off the Castlevania series. And since he's playing as Dracula, you can see the attention to detail in his keep, including Dracula's throne. This was an absolutely ingenious design of the classic Castlevania castle. He closes the video with shots of his playthrough as if you were playing through the toy box normally. It's also important to note that Brown Bat has been sharing mods with the community lately, and I truly cannot believe that he continues to push the boundaries of imagination to what the toy box can be with mods. Absolutely phenomenal work, Brown Bat. Next up, we have Clinton's Trick or Treat 2024 toy box. Clinton is back with Phineas, who will head out to the haunted mansion on top of the hill because he's out trick-or-treating. Phineas heads through Clinton's graveyard, which looks fantastic here, and I love the walk up to the haunted house too. Once you reach the entrance, you will see two people in costume who welcome you in. Once inside, a lady will tell you that 3 cauldrons lie before you. You will have to figure out if they contain tricks or treats. She also warns Phineas that the tricks could be deadly. So Phineas selects the one on the left where he's transported into a spooky area and the door is locked behind him. As Phineas continues through the corridors, he'll come across a key to open the door, but he'll become trapped and will have to fight off some enemies with his blaster. Once the enemies are defeated, you can take the key to the other locked door. Inside this room are swinging blades that you must avoid. To make things worse, there is a deadly sludge below. So Phineas must duck and dodge the blades and hit the button to unlock the door. Back at the cauldrons, Phineas has 2 more choices, so he chooses the right cauldron first. This transports Phineas into a platforming section where a giant lava wall will be moving towards you. It's up to Phineas to jump on all the blocks to avoid the lava and his demise. Reach the end and you'll be transported back to the final cauldron. The last cauldron takes Phineas to a candy land where he can collect treats. He'll go around collecting the cookies, cupcakes, ice cream, and more goodies laying around. Collect all the treats within the time limit and you'll be able to leave the mansion. This was a really fun toy box, Clinton. Enjoy those treats. Reflow Mods joins the event with his Dr. Phineastein Disney Infinity Mod showcase. This mod features Dr. Phineastein wearing his white apron and black sleeves. Now, it's always fun to see the various costume mods people can make, and this one is simple and themed perfectly for the event. I love this, Reflow Mods. Keep creating. Now let's head under the sea with Cool James' Dory Underwater Fun toy box. In this toy box, you'll be met with amazing pixel art of Dory and Nemo. In addition, you'll see tons of areas including doors, rail slides, racetracks, and more. Cool James even created a little area where you can battle fish in bubble battles within a confined fence. I really enjoyed seeing all the Finding Dory items he placed, as it's one of the rare toy box themes these days. It seems this toy box is just a big area showcasing all the fun stuff you can do with said items. You can even ride the manta ray around the toy box to get a glimpse of all the fun stuff that he placed here. Lastly, Cool James shows off the racetrack he created, which winds around his toy box level completely. This toy box has it all and shows off what the toy box itself is all about: having fun. Nice work, Cool James. Now it's time for more mods, as Just Random Modder 26 brings us his latest work to the event, the Lone Ranger Butch Cavendish mod. Not only has Just Random Modder been able to flawlessly bring in him as a playable character, he also shows off gameplay while inside the Lone Ranger playset within Disney Infinity 1.0. Like many of you, I always enjoy seeing new mods come to fruition, and it's always fun watching these. Love it, Just Random Modder. Keep up the good work. Speaking of mods, Cassini is working on tons. He recently released a mod that got rid of the intros when loading into Disney Infinity, and is working on a major project entitled Breeze. Breeze is a mod that aims to restore all of the missing content from the PC Gold versions of the game that PC players never got to experience, including missing characters, playsets, premium characters, and much more. Mr. Infinity Productions returns with his Chrome Halloween Mission Toy Box Showcase for this event. This toy box features a Cars and Nightmare Before Christmas takeover. The objective here is to trick or treat every single house to help find Chrome's stolen file. So, Lightning McQueen sets off collecting cookies around the map. Throughout this map, you'll notice tons of Cars and Nightmare Before Christmas references spread throughout this small town he's created. You'll also notice fun stuff like Flynn's Arcade and even some Toy Story references that he placed here too. He even added Jack on top of a hill too. And I also caught that this toy box features Sally from both franchises too. After collecting all the cookies, you will be able to transport to the top of the mountain where you meet Holly, who will greet you. Grab Chrome's file and return it to him to complete the mission. Now, it's always fun to see the creativity the community brings, and Mr. Infinity Productions brought just that. Great stuff here. Toys to Life Guy contributed to the event with his Star Wars themed toy box. Now, don't mind the low frame rate on this footage because the toy box is a lot of fun. The story here is that Obi-Wan crash landed on a planet and he must explore a Sith and Jedi temple. So he enters the structure and a battle with Darth Maul ensues. Afterwards, he'll come across a valley with many platforms. As Obi-Wan proceeds on, he'll have to climb up platforms, fight off enemies, grind across rails, and make his way to this corridor where you'll fight off more enemies. Lastly, you'll fight off this final wave of enemies. Now, Toys to Life Guy showed off his aerial view of all his builds for this toy box. It's always great to see more toy box creators enter these events. Nice stuff here, Toys to Life Guy. Keep it up. Papa H brings us his sports-themed Pumpkin Bowl toy box. The Pumpkin Bowl is loosely based around a game called Blood Bowl. His version features the Colby Cowboys versus the Monsters University Monsters and has the Lone Ranger versus James Sullivan in this marquee matchup. Papa H has created a beautiful arena filled with fans, Halloween-themed decor, lights, and a beautiful field to play on. On top of that, it's co-op play, and features fast-paced action. So how does it work? Well, on top of the teams being able to score touchdowns, players can earn additional points for aiming at the target to throw the ball at, or by defeating enemies on the field too. After the game concludes, we see Sully heading down the road to a haunted mansion where a after-party is taking place. The outside features gates just like a real ride, and I love the little Halloween decorations he's sprinkled throughout. Sully will walk past some party goers in line, but listen, he's a VIP guest, so he's allowed to head straight inside. Once in the party, Sully makes his way up the stairs to a portal. Once Sully enters, the party's on. Sully finds himself at the party where the guests are partying and dancing. It's a good time. And with that, Sully heads to the outside. Now, I loved this creation by Papa H. He really brought us a new sport inside Disney Infinity. It really goes to show you that you can create anything you put your mind to inside the toy box. Really fun submission, Papa H. Oh, and go Team Monsters. Mighty 287 joined in on the event with his Alice in Frankenweenie Wonderland toy box. This Halloween special features ghouls and ghosts that take over Wonderland. At the beginning, Alice is called over by the rabbit. As Alice approaches him, the world transforms into Wonderland. The rabbit needs help, and Alice then jumps on a spooky horse where she follows him down the road, picking up teacups that he drops. The rabbit will eventually disappear, and the world will turn into a mysterious and haunted one. As Alice continues down the path, she grabs pumpkins. As lightning storms start to form, the rabbit will disappear again, this time reappearing in front of a rabbit hole. Alice makes her way up to him and battles some swamp monsters. After dealing with them, you will see a new entryway open up. She enters and finds the rabbit next to a clock where he asks, "Are you ready?" and jumps down the hole. Just like the movie, Alice jumps down the deep hole too, eventually landing at the bottom in a different world and Wonderland. As she continues through this mysterious cave, she comes across the Cheshire Cat and decides to drink the potion. As she does this, a portal opens up. After stepping through, you see this new world full of madness. You'll see the sweeping land that Mighty has created, known as Frankenweenie Wonderland. She'll continue to follow and pick up the rabbit's teapots, which lead you from one area to the next. This will guide Alice through this unique unique land. Continue collecting all the teapots as it takes you through all the sights and wonders, including Mad Hatter's Tea Party. When she talks to the Mad Hatter himself, he mentions that this place is weird. Next, she'll have to go and grab the teapots and teacups for the Mad Hatter that are scattered throughout the world. As Alice roams around and continues to collect everything, you'll get a better glimpse of everything that Mighty created. I just loved how he used the verticality here with the mountains, attractions, and just plain weirdness in this twisted version of Wonderland. Once you collect the final teapot, the Cheshire Cat will ask if you want to go on an adventure. She throws him through the tree trunk, which unlocks a key to the next area. Unlock the gate and make your way forward to the next area, which features a teacup that you can actually drive, or clank around in, through the maze. Alice runs into a dead end and decides to go the other way in this caterpillar cart. She'll come across different dead ends, but eventually navigating her way to the exit. Once she does, the rabbit will tell her to run away. Follow the rabbit through the field and into the castle. Once here, you'll see another clock and the rabbit hole, which is locked. So, Alice must make her way outside to battle more enemies, including Broccoli. Once you defeat all the enemies, you'll notice the Queen's cards emerge from the castle doors. They then attack Alice and she is able to take them all out. After defeating a few, even more rows of red and black cards will make their way towards you. You'll have more decks to fight and eventually you'll get rid of all the cards. Head back towards the door and it will open a pathway to the rabbit. This is where you'll find him sitting in his chair. Additionally, the Cheshire Cat will be here too. And let's not forget about the Mad Hatter, who you can find here too. When Alice moves to the top, she is met by the Queen of Hearts, who tells Alice farewell. A chest opens up and she eats the cookie. Once again, Alice's head swells and we see the world changing once again back to Wonderland. Just how it should be. So Alice saves the day and her reward is a hot dog stand? She makes her way back to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party and this is where the toy box concludes. Now I loved Mighty's take on this version of Wonderland. Great toy box, Mighty. I really enjoyed watching this one. 72 Pringle brings us his legendary toy box skills in his latest entry, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Set in the world of Pirates of the Caribbean, this is based on the final film where Jack must find the island of Pelagosta and unlock the sea's hidden features. The toy box begins with Jack approaching the harbor of Skull Island. As Jack arrives at the island, he climbs up and begins to make his way to the top, where Jack plans to commandeer the boat. As he makes his way across the platforming sections, he'll eventually arrive at the boat, fight off their crew, and successfully hijack the boat so you can begin your search of the hidden sea treasure of the Pelagosta Island. As Jack looks down at the jaw-dropping whirlpool that 72 Pringle brilliantly made, the boat will sail past it as we search for the new islands. As Jack continues to embark on his search, you'll see these waves begin to form on the back of the boat, which Pringle didn't like, but I did. As the boat continues to sail, Jack will notice a vessel across the sea, and this is where things get nuts. You'll notice the crew and boat sitting on the sea when suddenly some bubbles start to form all around it. After this, you'll see the tentacles of a kraken begin to emerge from the water and surround the boat. You'll even notice a crew member jump off the boat, which made me laugh. Once the tentacles surround the boat, they'll grab the boat and destroy it, bringing it down to the depths of the water, just like the movie. He even added details like some floating debris on fire sitting on the water too. Just incredible stuff here. I love this whole scene. After this, we see Jack and his ship make it over to the islands. Notice the use of the camera shots on his voyage here. I actually love how it feels like a true journey just to get here. We are met with a top-down view of the beautiful islands, and the goal here is to find 3 crystals to be able to open the sea, just like the films. When Jack's boat approaches the docks, it will stop. Jack hops off and makes his way up this lift. Jack will then grab his first crystal and makes his way over to the platform and drops the first one. After plopping and setting the second and third stones, Jack must now step on this platform piece and the sea will collapse and reveal the entire new level underneath. Just look at that. The object now is to go down and collect the crystals and get back onto your boat. In a fun twist, the boat itself is your clock. And with that, the boat will follow the edge of the sea and go all the way around. If you can make it back in time, you'll escape with the crystals. If you miss the boat, you're stranded forever. Once Jack jumps down and collects his first crystal, you'll see different challenges to cause you problems like this water tornado. As it swirls around, if you get hit by it, your crystal count will actually reset to 0. Additionally, dead enemies will continue to spawn and fight you while you try to collect the crystals, all while avoiding the water tornado. So Jack continues to collect crystals, but that's not all there is to this toy box. As you continue towards the boat, the seawall is beginning to collapse just like the movie. The pirates will continue to fire and attack you too. Pringle mentions there's only one way back up. However, Pringle fails this time and Jack won't get to leave with his treasure, meaning he's about to meet his end to the collapsing seawall and probably end his toy box early. Now, I loved the creativity in this, and 72 Pringle continues to push the boundaries of what creators can make inside Disney Infinity's Toy Box mode. Sensational Toy Box, Pringle. And finally, we have Lion HD's Willowheart Highlands of the Cursed Woods Toy Box. In Lion's latest creation, Merida must lift a hunting curse by freeing 3 restless ghosts to save her parents and restore them to their human form. The toy box opens up with tons of action as Merida begins fighting off waves of enemies. Once completed, there will be platforming sections for Merida to climb up. Reach the top and you'll get a shot of this eerie vista Lion has built. Continue forward and you'll see locked gates that she won't be able to access yet. So Merida continues upward and hits a switch. Throughout the level, you'll face off against a myriad of enemies. Dispose of them to continue exploring the cursed woods. A new path opens up for Merida, and she grabs a rock which she places on the platform. Continue through the woods and you'll eventually get to this part which looks like a village and mystical tree. Merida will have to collect the townspeople and bring them to the tree stump to allow you to reach the top of the mountain. So she climbs up and, you guessed it, another enemy appears. Fight him off and continue navigating the spooky woods. She finds the next villager and returns him to the tree. And with this, Merida can glide over to the next section and eventually find the next rock. She takes a ride on the platform overlooking the massive toy box Lion has crafted here. Once she's off it, she'll grab the rock and place it on the weighted platform. And you'll see another layer come off her destination. So Merida continues to find the stones, traversing through the mysterious woods. The next platforming section sees Merida climbing up and facing off against more enemies. After defeating them, she'll see a huge area up in the sky with floating blocks. Merida will have to use the magical platforms to reach her destination. This part is so cool. She'll continue climbing up the moving, floating rocks while trying to make her way up. Now these platforming parts look tricky as some stones are turning with many colliding into each other, so you'll need to grab the sides of some ledges just to make it up. Very clever platforming ideas here by Lion. Eventually, Merida will make her way to the top where she can drop down and find the next magical stone. As she carries it back, she'll need to climb up the mountain even more, carefully placing the rock on the ledges above her. Once there, she'll find a magical cannon that will take her across the level where she can place the final rock. Once the rock is placed, a giant volcano will erupt. With this, Merida floats down and grabs the first ghost. Merida makes her way up to the cannons and kicks him into the volcano. And with that, the first ghost is free. So Merida sets out to find the second ghost, and as you can imagine, into the volcano he goes too. The final ghost is up on a ledge on the side of the mountain. Merida retrieves him and makes her way back to the cannons. A swift kick means freeing the final ghost. And with this, the curse is lifted and the cursed woods are now back to normal. She enters and finds her parents restored back to their human form. And with that, Merida successfully lifts the curse. Now, I loved so much about this toy box. It's always amazing to see what Lion HD can do inside the toy box. And with that, I want to thank everyone for participating, creating, and keeping the magic of Disney Infinity alive. Also, shout out to Lion HD as always for bringing everyone together for these. What a spectacular array of toy boxes this year for our 2024 Halloween event. So Infiniteers, what did you think of this year's submissions? Which one stood out to you? I want to know all your thoughts in the comments comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for all the latest Disney Infinity news and content.